Chops Garage is proud to be sponsored by Car Vertical, the largest online database of vehicle information. Do you know the true history of your vehicle? Run a check now. Link in the description down below.
Right everyone, I've been teasing you with this in the background in a few of the videos now. I'm promising to cover it with you, so it's about time we discussed the Mercedes. Now obviously this is Chops Garage and this isn't the kind of car I normally go out of my way looking for, but it was offered to me by a good friend of mine, Gordon, who's possibly watching the video. So my mate Gordon is a bit of a wuss and he keeps refusing to prioritise a 3-berth garage at these houses rather than bedrooms. He keeps going out and buying nice houses, but he really needs to get something with a huge garage on the side of it and ignore Vicky. By the way, during this video I will stir quite a lot between the two of them and see what I can get away with. Now, this car Gordon has had from new, something I completely did not realise when he was talking to me. He probably told me, and I probably should know it, but it wasn't until I looked at the V5 I realised he's had the car from new. It's a Mercedes E220 convertible. Which spec it is, I couldn't say because I'm terrible when it is on the form and I need to go back and look at it. I'm sure some of you Mercedes nuts will be able to tell straight away. Yeah, so Gordon's had this from new, and the reason he sold it, like I said, is because he doesn't have room for it and he's not using it. He'd have to tuck it away. He moves house like, well, like I buy cars, really. I said I was going to stare in here. And the car's done next to no miles over the whole COVID period and all of that. And he's riding his bike everywhere, and realistically the car's not getting used. He does love it, but he'd like somebody else to enjoy it. So he said, look, if I'm going to sell it, because I'm not part exchanging it against anything, I would rather not go down We Buy Any Car. I'd rather not go to a dealer. You know, if anyone's going to make a few quid out of it, you should do, James. So he very kindly brought it down. Now, I've had to give it a wash because I've been driving it for a few days. Let's turn the washer off a sec. Yeah, I've been driving it a few days, not to show off, but because Gordon left half a tank of diesel in it. And if I can drive on Gordon's money, I'm going to damn well do it. So it is in fantastic condition. He really has looked after it. Obviously, we've got the Diamond Cat alloys. They could probably do with a little bit of a refresh. There's a little bit of lack of peel on that. It's nothing to do with ownership. That's just the way they are. Now, when we had a conversation, Gordon said to me, you know, what could I get possibly private for it? What I'd need to do for it private, and what would it need retail? And I said to him, you know, we went through a list of things that need to be done. I said one of the things is really for retail, all 4 wheels need to be refurbished. In terms of that, other than that, it doesn't need an awful lot. I've driven it, I think it might possibly need a wheel bearing. It's also got a little ding down here, which for retail would need to be done. Hopefully that can be dentless removed by the by the PDR man is what I'm trying to say, of course. You wouldn't really want to paint it if you couldn't, because nowhere else does the car need paint. It's in fantastic condition. Hood, that needs a deep clean. It's not bad, but it does need a deep clean. There's a slight misting of green on it, and there's some in the corners here, so I would be like a nail brush and some bathroom cleaner, and then rinse that and then give it a treat, and it would be bang on then. Yeah, so other than that, it doesn't really need a lot at all. Inside is gorgeous, I will say. He's got the right colour combination, black with the cream leather. The floor mat needs a bit of a clean there, but the door cards, they've all got the same leather on, they're all mint. The seats are all in excellent condition. It's got the air scarf set up on it. Again, I'm sure some of you guys in the comments will know more about these models than I do. The rear seat's got the Harman Kardon sound system in it. It is lovely. Now what I quite like is the steering wheel on that is all this sort of off tinge of brown rather than being black against the cream. Works really well. So yeah, if we come in from this side, you'll see the steering wheel is actually like a brown leather, which I think really, with some white cream stitching on it, which really sets it off. Miles wise, only 48,000 miles on a 2014. It's on a 13 plate, but it's a very late 13. It was registered 2nd 2014. We've got heated seats, aircon. Like I say, we've got the air scarf set up, which is the thing that blows hot air from the back of the seat when you're driving along into your neck, keeps you warm. Cruise control, Bluetooth, rear parking sensors. I forget if it's got front as well. It's all in fantastic condition. Now, I've got to admit something now. I took old Gordon on his word, and I haven't actually done the roof on this yet. Let's have a quick look. Well, that's going to be a massive bust, isn't it, if the roof doesn't work? I even haven't had a go at doing it yet. I'm not even sure how it works. Oh, let's put something on the floor because the carpet on this side is really good as well. It just needs a little bit of a clean up. Right, I think we'll run the engine because I don't want to do the roof with the engine off. Like I say, I've driven it for 2 days. I haven't put the roof back at all, but it's been driving absolutely perfectly. I can't decide whether it's just a tyre or it needs a wheel bearing on the front left. It doesn't always make the noise, but yeah. Right, so where are we? Where are the buttons? You'd think he'd show me how to do this, wouldn't you? Right, off camera, I've done an embarrassing few minutes realising I don't know where it is, and it's underneath this here. So, okay, let's give this a go then. Oh, we've got action. It's going, it's doing something. Oh, there we go. Well, there you go. He didn't sell me a pup. You'd think it'd be the first thing I'd try it on a convertible, but you know, when it's friends, you tend not to be as careful, do you? So yeah, the roof does work, and like I say, it's all in. Oh, look at that lovely clock. It is all really nice in here. All the plastics are bang. Like I said, none of the white's worn out on anything. It's pretty much as new in here. Like I say, a clean up of those carpets and a little bit of a leather clean, and it will be brand new in here. Gordon's properly looked after it mechanically wise as well. He when he was up country, had it serviced by Mercedes, and then when he moved down here to Devon, where we don't have a Mercedes dealership nearby, he had it serviced by a specialist. Didn't even miss the COVID year. Had all of them done, despite the fact he was doing the mega low miles. So it's in fantastic condition, like I say. Really, a wheel refurb, a light clean inside, a clean of the hood, and it's ready to go. It's only where Vicky reversed into it here that there's any damage at all. I'm pretty sure that's what Gordon said happened. Vicky reversed into his wife because she was an awful driver. Apparently so, anyway. Anyhow, yeah, it's cracking car. Now, the thing with this is we're in winter, obviously, and it's not a cheap car. So versus my normal cars, I've tied up quite a bit more money in it. So realistically, the best thing for this to do is to come in and out again. This really needs to be sat in a forecourt with cars of similar values, you know, other sort of sports stuff, and something I certainly don't want to be leaving out here at the moment. So what I'm going to have to do is get my little black book out and start ringing round. So by that, I thought actually it'd be worth covering this with you guys, having a quick chat with you about it. So one thing I've tried to do since I started up, and if you're starting up, it's going to make your life a lot easier, is get together a little black book of other dealers. Now you might say, James, that's all right, you're a YouTuber, people come to you on it, but I'll give you an example of something I did yesterday to show you how you might try to go about doing this in your local area. And I'll put myself on camera while I do it as well, because there's not an awful lot more to show you. We'll keep the lovely Mercedes in the background while I did it. So yesterday I had to go into Bideford to get something done at the solicitors regarding the unit, sign off on the new lease on it. And when I was driving through, there's a few dealerships I've passed through every time. So what I did is I just pulled into one of the dealerships and just walked up and asked the valeter there if I could speak to the owner. So obviously it does take stepping out your comfort zone a little bit, but I met the owner there, we had a really good chat, and as a result of that, it was really interesting because during that conversation the chap was saying, well actually I'm looking to retire soon and I might want to lease this lot out, and it is a prime location lot. He said, I'm not sort of into the internet, he says I'm not into doing things online, so I don't know anything about videoing the cars and putting videos of the cars up. So he was doing all fairly new stuff but didn't really know about videoing and putting the cars up on there. And I said to him, you know, and he said during COVID, he said, because of the car shortage, I started doing older cars that I would not normally have dealt with, he said, but I started doing them just because of the shortage, and to be honest, they're a pain in the bum. I'm going back to doing newer cars, 3-year-old stuff, low mileage now, don't want to be dealing with the old stuff at all. I said, well, so what are you doing in part exchanges? He said, well, I did have a deal with the guys across the road, but that's kind of dried up a little bit. He said, so yeah, so I've got a few there. He said, in fact, I've got one coming in a minute. That customer turned up while I was there to pick up their car, and I was able to have a look over their part exchange and let me know what he needed for it. So just by stopping, it took me about 10-15 minutes or so, just by stopping and asking the question, I've made another contact there, and that's somebody that I can go to when I get needing new stock that he might be interested in, and someone I can also go and get the older part exchanges off. Now here's the thing, when you get those relationships going, sometimes your first car or so you might just buy just to keep them happy, just to sort of open the door, a relationship up. It might not actually be worth an awful lot more than you're buying it for. Get my hand out of the way. It might not be worth an awful lot more than you're buying it for, as long as you're not buying really bad business and you think you can break even on it, or just make a few quid out of it. It's something just to start to get things going on. You can start to be a little bit tighter after that. The main thing is, and I cannot stress this enough, be someone who's super easy to do business with. So a lot of the time, and this is no disrespect to people that message me, but sometimes people message me wanting to buy the cards trade off me, but you can tell by all the questions they're asking that they still want a guaranteed thing. They ask an incredibly large amount of information. They want videos of the engine running, they want loads more interior pictures, loads more exterior pictures, the inside out of the service history, they want a test drive video, all of that kind of stuff. You can't do that with dealers, they're too busy. So be someone that's super easy to do business with. Get the reg, get the mileage, go down, look at the car, say look, the easiest thing to do is say look, I'll pop down tomorrow morning and have a look, and then do all of that research yourself there and then. Don't bother them asking them for all of that, and then make them a fair offer. But the key thing is make yourself easy to do business. So not only make a fair offer, pay straight away, pick up straight away. It's all about cash flow in this business. So they want the money back in the bank as quickly as they can. They want the car gone off the lot, not taking up a space. So make yourself the easiest person to do business with, because even if they've got other people they normally supply to, if they are taking the Michael a little bit and putting bids in too low, if they're letting cars sit around for ages with them before they pick them up, if they're having to chase them for payment, if you're the guy or girl, of course, that pays up there and then and picks them up and takes them away straight away, that's going to be a major bonus to them. But you are going to have to get out of comfort zone. So you're just going to have to, when you're out and about and you see dealerships, just stop and ask, how's things going? Introduce yourself, ask them what they're doing with their old part exchanges, and what kind of cars they're looking to get. And at the end of the day, worst case scenario is they tell you to get lost. That's the worst case scenario. But you start doing that, you can build up a little black book, and that little black book will not only get you part exchanges in, but when you need to get out of cars, it will help you get out of them. So back to the example we're talking about here. So with the little black book I'm building up, I was able to send messages out to 3 people straight out the gate on this car with photos of it and say, is this your cup of tea? And one of the guys who's local, and I will ask him actually later if he wants me to put a link to the sale of this car, he does really nice stuff. He does fancy stuff, and I know where I am in the food chain. He knows where I am in the food chain, and he said to me, if you get anything low mileage, nice spec, sort of more prestige stuff, bung me a message. The reason I do business with him, like a few other people I do business with, the people I actually messaged, sorry, let me start that again. The reason I messaged 3 people when I could have messaged 10 people, there's only about 3 people that I know for a fact won't muck me around. They won't ask for the inside out of a duck's arse. So it's the same as I was just talking about. They will give me a price straight away on it, and I know they'll pay straight away, and I know they'll come and pick up fairly quickly. And their offers might not always be the highest offers, but they're the people that don't muck me around. So this one chap came back to me, he's local, he does the prestige stuff, and he said, yep, I sent him one picture of it, I sent him the registration, he asked me for a brief description. Again, because we do business with each other, he knows that I know about retail, and I'm going to tell him all the things that need to be done. So I said the dent that side, said the alloy probably want the alloy refurb, and he'll need the hood, we'll want it clean. So on the basis of that alone, he was like, yep, I'll have it. So, and he put me a bid that was a decent, fair bid. Yes, I could get more retail in the car myself, but by the time I'd refurbed the alloys, by the time I had got the dent man round to do it, and it would have taken me ages to get a dent man, because again, I'm not as big as some of these other guys where they get a dent man coming around almost every week. I wouldn't be able to get a dent man out for ages. I probably wouldn't get around to prepping it, and by the time I'd had those alloys refurbed, had the dent mun come out, done the other bits and bobs that would have needed to be done, I might have made a bit more money, but not a huge amount more money. And again, I'd have had to make sure I kept it inside all the time, kept it clean and tidy. So sometimes it's just about making a wage on a day, and that's kind of where we are with the Mercedes. So anyway, massive thanks to Gordon for offering me the vehicle. I hope you use the money wisely. Don't spend it all on comics and bikes. And and I am sure this is going to go on to find a really good home with the chap that I'm selling it to. He will prep it 100%. He does everything absolute to the tops. So this will be completely refreshed and we'll find a really nice home. Like I say, I might ask him later. If anybody's genuinely interested, I'll give him a link through. I don't know what his asking price is going to be for it, but it will be what the actual, it won't be like me undercutting price, it'll be what the actual price should be for it, because he will go through this thing inside out and make it absolutely pucker. Oh, I didn't mention the drive, did I? I didn't actually mention the drive at all. Saying it at the end of this section, it actually drives absolutely perfectly. Like I say, other than a bit of a noise on the wheel bearing, it shifts gear absolutely perfectly. It pulls really well, and I guess the really nice thing with it as well is I was waft around it for a couple of days. It doesn't use a lot of fuel at all, so you got all the looks but none of the expensive running costs. I'm sure at this point I would have been inundated with messages of people saying they would have bought it retail. I've been very interested. How many of you watching the video now would have genuinely bought this car in December? Genuinely have bought this car in December, knowing the kind of value that it's likely to be. How many of you have genuinely bought it? And stop and think before you answer, because I think a lot of people jump in both feet first without thinking about it. I think the reality is I would have found it quite hard to sell this during December. I probably would have to sit on it into next year, and for the reasons given, that's not something I'd want to do.